Hey, what's up, y'all? Coach Webb here. This week we got a very special guest, a man that I'm very intrigued by his story, and I can't wait to get to know him better. One of the Kennett super fans for the football team. It's where I got to meet him. Came up with all these cool shirts and stuff, and it's been fun getting to know him. He does all kinds of stuff in Kennett. I promise this is going to be a great episode here on Kicking It with Coach Webb, and my guest today is Mr. Joey Tribble. Joey, it's great to have you, man.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
Thank you very much. So let's jump right into it. So where and when were you born, man?
Long time ago. Dexter, Missouri, 77.
Dexter in 77. Well, I was born in Dexter in 84, and they quit doing babies there in 85. So they got the best out of it while they had it open.
Legends was born.
That's right. Legends were born there. That's right. So early in your childhood, tell us about some of that. Like, where did we'll say maybe pre-middle school. So tell us a little bit about your life growing up, like pre-middle school.
Pre-middle school, moved around a lot, all over southeast Missouri with my biological mother, and then we would move everywhere, like 5-6 times a year, sometimes more than that, different schools. Northwest Missouri a lot, Maryville, Rockport, Bethany, Plattsburgh, St. Joe, Kansas City.
Oh yeah.
And then I went to foster care for a little while, like my 5th grade year, and went to Sykeston, to Fort Leonard Wood, but and then the summer of going into 6th grade is when I moved to Kennett with my dad.
Okay. You think that early childhood, was that pretty tough, like having to move that much, or?
Yeah, it was at first. It really was, and I was like real shy. Then, and like if we moved 5-6 times a year, I didn't really have a chance to make friends. You know, like there would be sometimes I don't even think I have my backpack unpacked yet, and I have to move again. And so yeah, it was different. And then like as I got older, I guess it was pretty easy to be the new kid. I knew what to do. I got 2 weeks to know this or learn that. And then like sometimes I come through and I already did that curriculum at the other school. So it was like I was a real smart kid, and really I just did it like a couple weeks before.
Yeah.
So it was different.
So that's good. All right. So you moved around. 6th grade rolls around. You end up here in Kennett, staying with your dad. Tell us a little bit about. Maybe a little bit how that ended up being the way it was, like how that ended up coming to play.
After my 5th grade year, I always in the summertime I go to Portageville to my grandparents. Like they had I spent every summer, every school vacation, Christmas break, spring break at my grandparents. As much as I could be there, I wanted to be there. It was like a safe haven for me growing up. And then like my dad got married and. Here to a woman here in Kennett, and then like he was like, I want you to live with us, and so I ended up moving here that summer, and I've been here ever since. And it became home. It was like the first time I really had a friend, first time I ever completed a school year at one school year. I was like, man, this is where I'm from. Then it's like Kennett's where it's at. So
you kind of built that in your heart then.
Yeah.
And hey, I tell you, it's still true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things I've noticed. I mean, I've just had a very few meetings with you before, but that's one of the things. Man.
I'm Kennett through and through.
You Kennett through and through. That's right. That's very true. So you said your dad's wife at that time, before when we were talking pre-show, said she was really something that helped out that relationship.
Oh yeah. She was from here. She's from here. She's still here. Grew up here. Go to church here. Like we went to church at UPC here in Kennett. Still do. She does. I don't.
Yeah.
I still got my belief in my faith.
Yeah.
I talk to God every day, and I'm thankful for that upbringing I had.
Absolutely.
So
that's good, man. That's real good. All right. So let's. So now you're here. So we've got you here in Kennett, and you're fitting in. You're going through middle school. You're headed toward high school now. You get in high school. So what was what'd you do for fun, what'd you do at school for fun?
Football, a lot of sports, basketball, Kiwanis. Kiwanis was always a big thing in Kent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when my kids started coming up, I started coaching Kiwanis. I knew what it meant as Kiwanis. I can still tell you everybody on my Kiwanis teams from back then, who won the trophies that year, you know, and then playing junior high ball. Yeah, Coach Shoemate, Coach Hunter, Coach Carr, those guys was always there. Coach Shoemate is probably like one of the biggest mentors for me, Coach Hunter. And just made me want to really learn the game of football and be a part of it. And then just like the tradition, you know, the love for the game and the Kennett pride, you know, that black and gold will never go away.
That's right. Once you get it, I mean, Kennett's a special place. I mean,
Yeah,
I lived.
it is. Some people say they hate it so bad, and I might hate it while I'm here, but as soon as I leave, I can't wait to get back, you know.
It really is. Like, one of the things I've noticed, and I've lived in lots of different towns, but like as an adult, I've lived in mainly 3 or 4 towns, like the main ones. And, you know, one of the things about Kennett I love is like, you know, people will help you. Like, if you're willing to help yourself, people will help you here.
Yeah,
you know?
and honestly, I really never took it like that. In 2011, I had like the worst tragedy of my life ever happened, and my son passed away. And like I'm thinking, you know, how horrible. You know, there's like, you know, there's no words to describe it, but the town came behind me and like just picked me up, and like, I mean, just everybody. It was like people who really didn't like me, I didn't like them, or people I had never met or didn't know me, I didn't know them. Churches, groups, you know, just everybody felt my pain, I guess, and my family's pain, and they came, and it's like it clicked something on it, and it's like, man, I got to do something now, because I just didn't, you know, it was a bad time, but at the same time, I learned so much about people here.
Yeah. That's what, yeah, like when I got 3 kids, and when my youngest was born, it was really weird. He was really sick. He was born about a month early, and he couldn't keep anything down, like at all. Like, he was born a normal kid, like big kid, strong, you know, as a baby. Couldn't keep nothing down, and he just kept throwing up, like projectile vomiting. But he passed like every single test that they would do. They would do a test, he would pass. So like, it was weird, and we spent 6 weeks. I think 2 separate times. We spent about 6 weeks total in the hospital. Not too long after he was born, and 2 or 3 of those weeks were up at Children's at WashU up there in St. Louis, and we hadn't been here very long. I moved here in May of 2016, and this was like May of 2017, May and June of 2017, and people that I barely knew were doing so many nice things for me, and I was like,
yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things about this place, man. It's cool.
Yeah,
They'll help you. You know, and I think that's cool. But let's get back to a little more specific on you. I know we both talk about Kennett, and we'll get more on that in a little bit. But so high school football, did some of that, and then let's talk a little bit about what else in high school did you like? What was like your least favorite subject?
Science.
Not very fun for you?
No, not at all. I don't know if it was just like I didn't want to do it, or if it was, I don't know. I just hated it all the way around the board. I didn't want nothing to do with it. And I had a lot of problems with it. Thank God I had some good friends that would help me out.
I understand that. Me in chemistry when I was a junior. Thank you. You're right. I'm glad I sat next to a couple smart kids, because
right.
I'd have had a much worse grade in there. All right, so let's talk about junior, senior year, high school. What can you tell me about that?
Well, when I first came to Kennett, I moved over to a street called Manchester Street, and our whole block was just full of kids, and it was like a family, the whole block, you know, and we're all still real tight. And I slipped away and started doing a lot of stuff that wasn't with them, and in other places, and trying to be something, you know, in a negative spot. And I ended up getting in trouble my junior year, and I got certified as an adult, and I got an 8-year prison sentence my junior year in high school. So I ended up having to leave and go do some time,
It's time.
Yeah, I deserved every day of it. And I mean, like a lot of people didn't believe it. You know, like I told you earlier before pre-show, like, you know, I had teachers and my coach and my principals wrote letters to the judge and stuff like, you got the wrong kid, you got the wrong one. And then whenever it came time, I had to look at him in the face and, you know, own up to that. And that hurt. It was like a stomach shot that I had to look at my coach who, you know, he was batting for me heavy. And then, like, when I told him, I was like, you know, it was me. You know, I did it, and I'm gonna go, you know, I gotta leave this town. And he, you know, he never switched up on me. Still to this day, if I, you know, if I call him his coach, he's there still to this day. And I'm, you know, in my 40s now, so he never left. He never switched up.
That's good, you know, to have those people in your life like that. That you know, I think like in my life, like, you know, I've done some stupid stuff. I never end up being in a lot of trouble, but like I've done some stuff maybe my mom wouldn't have been like the most proud of, you know. But
Right. Yeah.
I don't think my mom would ever switch up on me.
And that was like a big hit, and my parents didn't, like, you know, it really, really crushed them. I remember looking at them, and they had to look me in my face in a jail suit and hug me and tell me, you know, how you know, it hurt them so bad. And at that time in my life, I was just a mad teenager, a bad teenager for real, and like, I didn't care. But then as growing up, I was like, man, I put my parents through that. That's what they went through in a small town. You know, oh, that's their kid that did this, you know. And I didn't think about that type of stuff, you know. And then as an adult, I realized how selfish I was with that. And, you know, I hurt more than me when I went to the penitentiary, you know what I mean? And then while I was waiting to go to the penitentiary, but actually, I was on my way to the penitentiary and hadn't left Kent County Jail yet, but found out that I was having a son. You know, I'm 17 years old, girlfriend pregnant, fixing to have a son, and now I gotta go through the 8-year prison sentence. And so I was like devastated with that. I was like, man, I want to be there. I want to be, you know, there for my kids. I don't want my kids to have to go through what I went through as a child. And it's already starting out like that. Right. That's the way it looked. But ended up, I came home when my son was like 2.5, and I was here for a brief minute, and some stuff happened. I got sent right back, and I finished out my prison sentence. I did 4 years, finished it out, and I came home, and I got my kids as soon as I came home. And since then, I've had 4 more.
Well, that's good, man.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
It's blessings, ain't it?
There are blessings. There are
Yeah.
blessings. They all keep me grounded in a different way.
Yeah, like you're right about that different way. I remember when my wife got pregnant with my first kid, I was like, oh, I think it needs to be a boy. You know how guys are like, oh, it's a boy.
Yeah.
And it was a girl, and at the time I was like, oh man, and I was scared. You know, I had a different. I don't know. The way I grew up was good and different. It was just kind of, I don't know, like it was just had different things. So I wasn't sure how to be. You know, it's scary when you have your first kid because you're not sure how to be like a good dad. You know, you're just like what do I do? You know, and you try to figure it out, and you watch other people, you watch your own dad, and learn things and everything. But I was really thankful long term now that I had a girl first because it was able to help me be a better dad. Like Ariel has helped me be a better dad just because, I don't know, well, for her, she's girly, but she's, you know, tomboy enough at the beginning. And just, I wanted to be, if it was a boy, I just think I would have been too hard on it. I just do.
I was really, really hard and open with my first son. And he's 23 now. But he was raised totally different even from my second son. And like, this thing is like, every 10 years it seems like I have a kid. It's like, I had my son when I was 18. Then my middle son, there's 10 years difference in him. And then I had another son, and he's the one who passed away when he was 2.
Okay.
And now I got twin daughters who just turned 2 yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
So it's like, plus they're having boys. And then now, like you said, having girls. Like, I was hard on my boys.
Yeah.
You know, and my boys were rough. Like, you know, they're both within the sports and stuff like that. And now I got these two little girls, and they're like princesses, you know.
Yeah.
And it's totally different.
It's
It
cool.
is, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, so like when you were able to get your diploma and you were able to graduate.
Yeah.
When you were in, right before you get out, did they have any like, did you just do your time and go home, or did they have any like kind of programs to help transition you to get back into, I mean, like you would think, like especially being young and getting in, gosh, they would want to have something to help you, right? Or is there not really anything?
I'm not going to say they don't have that program. I'm not sure if they do, but I wasn't going to do it.
You weren't having it.
No, I was fully committed to what I was doing in there, but whenever I came home, I knew I had to do something different out here to not go through that revolving door again.
Yeah, that's important. There's so many people that do that.
Yeah, you know, guys come home and they're right back in the same environment, same stuff, same group of friends, same whatever. And I didn't switch none of that up. I didn't switch my friends up or nothing like that. I just let my friends, you know, in on what I was doing. And I was like, look, I don't want to get nobody back to the streets or nobody back to the joint or the system. I want us all to become, you know, what we was to dads, and honestly, really, we have, you know.
Yeah.
And you can look at each one of us and see the change. And like, if you take me and talk to someone who just went to high school with me and hadn't seen me since high school,
Mm-hmm.
they would never understand this. You know what I
Right.
mean? They're like, no, not that. But if they knew me and they saw the transition, they would know. But for somebody who hasn't been here, hasn't saw me since high school, they're like, oh, no, that ain't what he
Yeah.
does. They ain't them guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is funny because, like, I'm on the opposite end of it. Like, I didn't know you until, I mean, I really didn't get to talk to you very much until this last football season. But then before that, I think I maybe met you once. So I know everything that I learned about today. Like, I didn't know
Right.
any of those things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. A lot of people don't know a lot of the inside shell part unless you know. You know.
Yeah, but you know, like with my job, and I'm gonna plug JAG again here. Like, it's a program, you know, it's a nonprofit, and they work with kids who have barriers. You know, and I look at some of your story. You know, you talk about like moving around and the foster care and different things when you were young. And people, I mean, some people they don't realize like that stuff affects people. And it's tough. Like you know, and so I would hope that if you know those were the case, if they would have had JAG back then, maybe.
Right.
Maybe we could have.
I say it a lot.
Yeah.
To these kids, like, and as far as people in the community now, like, there's certain people in the community who just go above and beyond for underprivileged kids. You know.
Yeah.
I'll plug them both. They're both to me are like super role models, and I respect these people so much. Miss Harris and Chris Sledge.
Yes.
To me, if I could be like those people more and more every day, that's a good thing because they do stuff that people don't even have a clue about, and they do it out of their heart.
Yeah.
They don't do it because somebody tells them to or because of any situation. They do that. They do a lot of stuff that nobody would ever know.
Right. More than you dang right.
And like they do it with, you know, they might have this group of friends or whatever, and they would do whatever for their kids, but they're going out and helping kids who, you know, they don't have no ties to. They just know this kid's got potential and I want to see something better for this kid. And so that's like kind of like what I do with like Kiwanis or Little League football. Like Chris, since we started the Little League football program, Chris has had me there by his side with that. And I got to see, like, Moosey was my first class that we started that Little League football program. So when I got to see Moosey transition into high school and Quez and, you know, Tanner Duncan and them, I remember that first year and how awkward. I was like, man, these kids are going to be horrible. You know, Jordan Jarrett, like, whenever he was in Little League football, like, I would skip over him. Like, anybody else want to run the ball? You know, little skinny kid back there. I'm like, oh, the light skinned kid wants to run the football.
Yeah.
We don't do it. You know, you're Moosey up here.
Right.
And, you know, and then, you know, to help those kids. And now, like, you can drive down the street and I see these kids. They, you know, like, it's to me, it's just a good feeling like that. And like, this year I coached Kiwanis again. And I said I wasn't going to coach no more since my son don't play Kiwanis no more. You know, my son plays school ball now. And so there was really no reason for me to coach. But then I got to think about it. If my son King was still alive, he would be in Kiwanis. So I wanted to go ahead and coach his classmates up. And that's what I'm doing. Like next year will be my last year coaching Kiwanis probably. You know, I'm going to go one more time. And and it's for that reason. You know, I want to, and the kids like I had this year was probably, you know, my favorite group that I've had was this year. My son wasn't on that team. These kids just, you know, the whole class, the whole 6th grade class that's going to the 7th grade class. I really bonded with those kids because I did the Kiwanis thing, and then Coach Patton let me help with the traveling team. I started doing the traveling team with these kids, and it was kids that wasn't even on my Kiwanis team that I just got to meet. And to me, like, watching those kids come off the court or getting like a lot of the trips, when you drive to the towns you play at, you hear so much. And so I give my input back, you know, and then like, you know, basketball season was over and I could still drive down and see these kids and, hey, we'll pull over, talk. We'll run drills out people's yards, you know what I mean? Like right out here where most of them live, like they'll be out there running in the street and we'll do drills and whatever, you know?
Yeah. That's good stuff on that. When you know, I'm gonna throw out a couple little bit of information for you guys. Man, I know Chris Sledge is a co-owner with his dad of Skeeter Kill Sporting Goods here in town. It's a big company. If you need sporting goods stuff, you know, you can always hit them up. Miss Harris, if y'all ever seen the movie The Blind Side, it's kind of like that, except like maybe 100 times folded that. I mean, or more. I mean, I ain't ever met anybody like Miss Harris, and if they had a movie about her, it'd be a lot better than that movie, even The Blind Side. She's a special lady. I'm hoping to get her.
Right.
She's scheduled to be on one of the seasons of this as well. So, and
both of those would be good at.
Absolutely, and I'm still working on it. I haven't had a chance to get with Sledge yet, but I'm gonna try to get him on as well.
Book it a year ahead.
Yeah, because he's a busy guy. But let's talk about. All right, so you're outside school now. You graduated. You come back to Kennett, and you know what? So what'd you do? I mean, like, what'd you do for work? Like,
well, when I
first
first came back, in '04, I lived in Springfield, and when I was out there, I was just like, music's always been like a big part of my life.
Sure.
Like, you know, and when I was incarcerated, I met some guys and knew some guys who had got home a little bit earlier than me, and they had just taken off with like.